All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone in Geelong. I'm up in France at the moment, doing a bit of a tour to visit our manufacturers, our suppliers. But first, I'll give a quick introduction of who I am. Johan. I'm originally from Holland. I've been working with hemp for about 15 years. Been introduced by good old John and Phil to the hempcrete. Worked with hempcrete Australia, then moved to HempBLOCK Australia. It's a big step forward, but that's how I got there. And we've been focusing on creating hemp blocks. Trying to create hemp blocks for the Australian market, construction market. Let's have a look what we've got here. So we all know the problems, the traditional building materials. We've got the embodied energy of the materials. It's hard to get the materials. There's VOC, there's costs that are increasing. It's difficult to get the regulations happening. There's obviously a pressure to get materials that are cost effective, but yet carbon negative or carbon as carbon positive as possible, as carbon negative as possible. So I'm not sure, but I think with the forum, I don't really have to explain the benefits of hempcrete. Already Ziggy's has been there with this presentation and other people talking about hempcrete. What here we go with we've got some resistance, some facts about what's going on with the hempcrete and the hemp blocks. What we'd like to talk about here is how can we make this happen? What's important for the hemp industry to actually get there. So I've tried this for a long time, and yeah, in Australia it's a matter of being part of a big industry, I guess, and finding the right people to back you, investors. So on a particular tour in Europe, I connected with people that already made a block. It was a block that I kind of had designed or thought of, engineered, with the tongue and groove, very similar, thought out, like, oh, this will work. And these people made it. So instead of reinventing the wheel, we connected with them, and it helps that I speak French. I know the French culture a little bit. They trusted us to sell the blocks in Australia to start with, and then we've got agreements to sell them in the US, New Zealand, South Africa, and so on. So from there, I learned to work with the blocks. We're just going through some pictures of the factory and the box itself. This is here in France. I'll be there on Monday. I was supposed to be there last Monday or today, and that had to shift. So I wish it would have been great to have a live video there, or even for your afternoon a bit later or evening, but that's going to happen on Monday. So yeah, connected with these guys, created a few houses, and found out just the standard regulations and intricacies of constructing homes with a block that has a load-bearing system connected to it. From there, yeah, with that experience, I worked out that the traditional, we're looking at some houses here, these are French, and this is an office near the factory before and after render. This is a home in Maleni. So we worked out that with the traditional system, they use here, it's based on steel and concrete, steel reinforced concrete. And I tried to get away from that due to technical reasons, but also environmental reasons. Technically, because if the holes that are in the block, they are filled with steel and concrete. If anything is wrong with that mixture, or the engineer is not happy with you creating cold joints, then it's it's a long and slow system to assure that you don't get blowouts. Blowout in the construction industry is quite known. A lot of concrete blocks are precast, are filled up, are core filled. Blowouts happen when there's a little crack, or when the concrete is too liquid, or you put too much concrete in. Anyway, that whole system, all right, worked out. That's not going to really work. Let's try to do something else. So as you see here, the block is dry stacked or interlocked. There's no mortar, and I worked out on 3 systems. So we first went for a steel system, where I replaced what you see here, the little cages that are available here in France. You can actually buy those steel cages, those forms you put in the holes, in the hollows of the concrete. We had to do them in Australia by hand. We had to create them out of N12, which is much thicker than the N10 here. We had to get those ligatures, which are hard to get, and then make them by hand. So they're quite heavy. There's a lot of them, and then you've got to box it all up. Blah blah blah. Construction. So I've always been very motivated to go for the fastest possible system. So let's have a look here. Of course, we get a add second. Make sure that this runs.
Je suis Jérôme Moutarde, cofondateur de l'entreprise.
Oui. All right, let's have a look at this. All right. So thanks for that. Let's go back to my screen. Jeez. Technology. Sorry guys, I cannot get my way out of here. Okay. Are we still back? Can I get some feedback? God, for God's sake, I'm trying to get my browser back. Couldn't have done that. Oh my God. Here. One of these guys.
Are you right there, Johan, or are you just fighting with your computer there? Johan?
This is a nightmare because I try to stop what's going on. And videos.
Je suis sur le clap.
Oh my God. This one here. C'est pas possible. Yeah. Did I find it? Yes. All right. Jesus. Can I have some feedback there? No.
We can hear
We're back
you.
on the slide. Yeah, that was good. I'm really sorry. It's terrible when you get lost in the computer land. All right. Anyway, I think we're back on to the slideshow here. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, good. My apologies. Anyway, so you saw, yeah, it's a different system that we worked out. Here's my son drilling a hole in a lintel that's prepared before the blocks go in. So we drill the holes and add the lintel after the blocks have been positioned. Let's have a look. Go back next screen. So here I'll go back to YouTube this time. I hope I will get rid of that very quickly because I know where it is. So yeah, we did a time lapse on a home, just showing you what's happening. So 540 box and 12 days of construction. We used steel posts here. So changed from the steel cages that we add later to steel posts, wherein we later add steel, the stanchions or feet. Later on, we slide in steel posts. Day 10. Got that. Yay. I got that all right. Go back to the presentation. I can work that out. Yay. Wow, I've done it. Fantastic. So yeah, we use a fiber reinforced polymer. For the next step, from steel, we went to fiber reinforced polymer because the steel was heavy. Steel eventually will rust, even though it's encased, and this particular steel was all coated and galvanized. We found a product from Wagner's that is a steel replacement, basically. So the long bits, the posts you see lying here to demonstrate how it works on a project in Fiji. They're the ones, they're the spreader bars on most of the electricity posts in Australia, because obviously the stuff doesn't rust. It's a polymer, it's a glass reinforced polymer, and it's non-conductive and so on. And they use these materials for making bridges, mainly walk bridges or structures near or in the ocean, because it doesn't rust. It will never rust. And yes, it has carbon. Here we see a diagonal brace we used because Fiji's got a very high cyclone, is in a high cyclone area. So yeah, that was just a quick run around to show the load-bearing systems we developed. And this last one, the fiber reinforced polymers, we're working with them guys here in Australia, Australia and the US, to get this system to be part of our package. So the deal with this LB300 system is that you order a home, you get a it's like, it will be like a kit home. You get a package of materials, the blocks, the fiber reinforced polymer, the beams, the bolts, and you'll be able to get that, create your home. All right. Well, besides that, just like standard block, we have 100 mil, 150 mil, 200 and 300 mil standard block, which is behind the render here. So it should have been the other way around. So up from there to there, it's a little hole. Here we have a project where we've got those blocks into a big shed and created a steel studs to lock the blocks onto, and create a home within a shell, the shed. Very successful, very well insulated. I don't know how to get rid of this bar here. Here we see, then the blocks, as you might know, the hempcrete needs to be rendered, needs to be finished. We finished that with a lime render, because that's a breathable render, so not cement. Lime render on the outside, clay on the inside is an option, and that is reinforced with a fiber reinforced mesh to tie the blocks all nicely together. Here in Colindale, so Italian render team doing a good job. That was outside, this is inside. This home is finished by now. This is another home in Maleni as well, where we render using a red render. And this is the same render. If you work it well, then you can make that really fine. So it's a really fine finish. Here we see a shop in Bondi Junction, Zimmerman, that wanted to use our blocks to clad the inside of a shop in Westfield, Bondi, and I think it's pretty successful. It looks really nice. People love it in there. It's a nice atmosphere, good sound, and they lime washed that particular project. So thank you.